Good morning, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. I am Michael. I am a staffer for Claudia. I apologize for the late start here. We will get started in just a minute. I am going to ask everybody to mute themselves if they can. And in just a little bit, I will introduce our guest speaker. I also will have George Iverson, who is our DC legislative assistant. He will be on here as well. So if you just give me 1 minute to admit everybody to this meeting. All right, Howard, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. I do not see anybody else in the waiting room, and so I will get us started. For those of you that just got in, I am Michael Stottlemyre. I work for the Congresswoman in district as her district outreach coordinator. I also have George Iverson, who is our legislative assistant for Claudia in DC. We're going to get started shortly. The flow of this is going to be, I'm going to introduce Howard Kunz from the USDA RD. He is going to then present. Any questions that you might have, you feel free to put that in the chat. We'll also, after the presentation, field any questions you may have. So just feel free. Howard, you are a co-host, so you can share. So I believe I don't see anybody else in the waiting room, and so I will hand it off to you, Howard.
Okay. And that presentation should be showing sooner or later.
Yes, sir. I see it.
Okay, great. My name is Howard Kunz. I'm a community programs specialist with USDA Rural Development. Our main office is in Syracuse. And our presentation today is on two programs that I work with. One is water and wastewater projects, and the other is community facilities projects. And our program director is Brenda Smith. That's her name and title down there. She might be on. I'm not sure. She was going to try and jump on. This is the agency overview. We're rural development, and I work in two of these three main areas. The Rural Housing Service is our program area that works with the Community Facilities Program, and Rural Utilities Service works with the Water and Environmental programs. We also have the Rural Business Cooperative Service, and that works with some of our business programs, with all of our business programs. And first program I'm going to go over is our Water and Environmental programs, or we call it WEP. This program helps communities with construction, repair, modification, expansion of drinking water projects, sewer collection projects, solid waste collection, and stormwater collection projects. The eligibility for applicants for the WEP program, applicant has to be a public body, a not-for-profit, or a Native American tribe. And next, it has to be, the applicant has to be in a rural area, which for this program is defined as an area with 10,000 or less population. And the applicant has to be unable to finance the project from their own resources or through commercial credit. Our loan terms for WEP loans are the useful life of the facility or for 40 years. Local finance law dictates the maximum period of repayment can be 40 years. So all our projects are for 40 years, but all our projects are actually for 38 years because we allow for a 2-year construction period. And usually an applicant gets what's called a bond anticipation note. And that pays for, they use that to pay for construction during the construction period. Usually construction is 2 years, and then we close our loan after those 2 years, and that's why our loan term is usually 38 years instead of 40. We have 3 interest rates for this program. The lowest one is the poverty rate, which is 1.375%. And sorry for all the acronyms in this. The MHI has to be, the MHI of the area has to be less than $45,506. MHI is median household income. And we use the American Community Survey 2010 data to find what a community's median household income is. So for poverty rate, you have to be the MHI has to be under 45,506, and the project needs to correct a health or sanitary problem. Next rate is the intermediate rate, currently is 1.75%. The MHI has to be less than 56,882 and does not correct a health or sanitary problem. And then market rate is for all the other projects. The income is of the area would be 56,882 or more, and there's no grant funding available for those projects. Our rates change every quarter, and when we approve the loan, we obligate it, and that's what this paragraph on the bottom says. The rates are locked in at obligation. So if hopefully the interest rates are a good low amount when we approve it, you get to keep that interest rate through all the construction time and close at that rate. If the rate goes down, you get to close it at the lower of the 2 rates, but it's nice to have a low interest rate locked in too. The security for our loans is almost always general obligation bonds. Municipalities like villages and towns issue general obligation bonds to secure the repayment on the loan. We might have a few not-for-profits in New York State that we work with, and we might take revenue bonds or assignment of income for them. But usually in New York State, it's always general obligation bonds that we use for loan security. And eligible project costs, you can use the funding for construction, for legal expenses, for engineering fees, anything else that has to do with the project, really. If you need to acquire land for the part of the project, or water rights, and permitting and equipment. The only thing that's not eligible is application preparation. And we have different amounts of, we have some grant funding available, and we can fund a project with part loan and part grant funds. We have limits on how much of the project can be a grant and how much can be a loan. For projects that fall under that intermediate rate, the grant limit is 45% of the total project cost. If it's that other rate, the poverty rate, which is below that approximately 45,000 and has a health and safety issue or health and sanitary issue, we can finance up to 75% of the project in the form of a grant. That also depends how much money we have available in grant funds. So it's not automatic that we can do that much, but it's a possibility. We also use grant funds to reduce the user cost to a reasonable level. And when we're looking at that, we compare the user cost of the proposed project to similar systems in the state. And kind of have a target of, we want communities to pay 1.5% to 2.5% of their median household income. And the higher the income, maybe the closer to 2%. There's a couple examples down there. If a community has a median household income of 40% and we used a 1.6%, that would make like a targeted user cost of $640 annually. Then with a $55,000 MHI, maybe closer to 2%, the user cost might be around $1,100 a year. Underneath WEP loans, we also have something called ECWAGs, which are Emergency Community Water Assistance Grants. These help communities prepare or recover from an emergency that threatens their supply of drinking water. Eligible applicants are the same as for the direct loan. They have to be municipality, not-for-profit, or Indian tribe. And there's two types of uses for ECWAG funds. You can use the grants to make repairs on the system, and that can't exceed 150,000, or excuse me, if the system needs a new water source, that can't exceed 1 million. If the project that you need to use ECWAG funds for, if you can fund that completely with ECWAG funds, we have something called a streamlined application, which it makes it a lot easier to apply for that funding. That's only if you don't need other funds from us or and to complete the project. With an ECWAG, the reason that's causing the emergency has to be tied to some kind of event. Usually it's a drought or flood, earthquake, chemical spill, and you don't need a FEMA or other federal disaster to document the event. It can just be an event. We also have two types of planning grants. These help lower income communities with the initial planning and development of applications, like putting together the engineering report or putting together an environmental report. We have one called Water and Waste Disposal Pre-Development Planning Grant, or PPG. The other kind is called a SEARCH, Special Evaluation Assistance for Rural Communities. PPGs are for communities with a population of 10,000 or less, and the income has to be 45,506 or less, and the maximum grant amount is $30,000 or 75% of the pre-development project cost. The SEARCH program is similar, but it's for communities that are 2,500 or less, same income restrictions, and the grant maximum is 30,000, or and with SEARCH grants we can do up to 100% of the pre-development planning costs. All our water and environmental programs are done through a computer system we call RD Apply. It's safe and secure. It's always available. It really helps with faster processing, and this says less paper, but there's usually no paper involved, which is great for everybody. And in order to submit an RD apply application, you need the preliminary engineering report, or we give that the acronym PER, and environmental report, that's an ER. There's something called a notice of intent to file application. You need to advertise in the community's main paper, telling the community that you're applying for some kind of rural development financing. And we need the last 2 AUDs. And if there's health and sanitary issues, we need documentation from Department of Health or DEC or local health department documenting what those health and sanitary issues are. We have a note here that please make sure that the information you put into RD Apply agrees with the PER. Sometimes the PER might have been done several months or a year before you're able to apply for the on RD Apply, and there might be some changes, and the RD Apply application might not agree with the PER. So hopefully get those in line so they're in agreement when you submit the RD Apply application. And the next major program I work with is called Community Facilities. And I underlined we can do several different types of projects with these. It's to help communities finance essential community facilities in their area. We've done libraries, town halls, hospitals, colleges, public works buildings, DPW garages, fire and rescue stations, and fire and rescue vehicles and equipment. You can also do transportation projects for roads or bridges, or repairs for rural airports. We haven't gotten any rural airports yet, but we've done roads and bridges. There's similar eligibility requirements to our water and environmental program. You have to be a public body. The applicant has to be a not-for-profit or a Native American tribe. The population requirement is more with community facilities. We can do 20,000 instead of the 10,000 that was with water and sewer. And again, the applicant needs to be unable to finance the project from their own resources or through commercial credit at reasonable rates and terms. Eligible purposes are purchase of real estate, buildings, existing facilities to improve service or prevent loss of service, construction of those facilities, and purchase of vehicles and major equipment. Eligible uses are for construction, for architectural engineering fees, or for soft costs like the environmental report or legal expenses, getting right-of-ways, net interest on the interim financing, or a fiscal advisor. Ineligible purposes are we can't do any recreational projects, and we can't do any commercial projects, no electric generation projects. Also, we can't pay for application preparation fees, and the project has to be modest in size and type and design. And the facility, when completed, can't lease space to one of these ineligible purposes. The typical terms for new construction are 30 years. For rehabilitation might be 20 years. For major equipment, it depends on the useful life of the equipment, ranges from 5 to 15 years. I think police vehicles are only 3 years. And for fire trucks, ambulance, it's either 15 years or the useful life of that equipment. If it's a public body that's applying, you need to follow New York State local finance law to determine what the term of the loan will be. And interest rate is currently 2.25%. And like the water program, when that's approved and obligated, that locks that rate in unless it goes lower by the time you close. We also have a program called guaranteed loans, and the initiative is called the 1RD Guaranteed Loan Initiative. This started last October, and it's a program to make it easier for lenders to access our guaranteed loan program. Applicant eligibility is the same, except the population requirement is not 10,000 or 20,000, it's up to 50,000. And the term is negotiated between the lender and the applicant, but can't exceed state law. And the loan is made by a commercial lender, and we guarantee payment of any loss up to 80% of the total project cost. Lenders like that because it reduces the risk and that they face with it, and maybe they can give the applicant or the borrower a lower rate because of that guarantee. There's a 1% guarantee fee that the lender pays at when we initiate the loan, and there's a 0.5% retention fee due annually. These are some numbers that we put together. These are New York State, what we did last year. We did 40 direct loans and water environmental programs for a total of about 113 million. We're #1 in the country for that. And 16 grants at about 23 million. I think we're #2 in the country for that. And we did 5 search grants and 1 ECWAG grant. In community facilities, so far we've done 43 projects this fiscal year, which ends this week, and totaling about 67 million. 3 guaranteed loans totaling about 20 million. 14 grants at about 850,000. We have another pot of grant funding called Economic Impact Initiative Grants, EII. That says EEI, but it's supposed to be EII. We did 5 this year, and we had a lot of disaster grant funding available this last year. So we were able to do 19 total for a total of about 2.2 million in that program. I think we're around either #1 or #2 in the country for number of loans made and amount of loans made. This is our area office contact information. Probably everybody in this meeting maybe is the Marcy Service Center. And Alan Gregory is the lead specialist in the Marcy Service Center. And Brenda Smith is our community programs director. My name is Howard Kunz. Again, I'm community program specialist. And that's it. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Howard. Yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to either put it in the chat, or if you wanted to go under the reactions and raise your hand. I do see one. Frank, I'm not sure if you see this, but I'll just read it out loud. Within a residential area of our town, we have a business park that needs a municipal sewer system. This area has been formed into a sewer district and zoned for commercial use. If our town meets the MHI standards for loan grants, but the users of the system is commercial, would the town be eligible to apply?
There has to be some residential component. Is there still?
Dominic, I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourself. Let me just get to it real quick. There we go.
This is Dominic Frank. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, Howard, there would be a small residential component. So would there, is there some kind of percentage that we would need to achieve in terms of the relationship between commercial entities and residential entities to be eligible?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I spoke incorrectly at first. We can do it even if it's business only.
Oh, okay. Well,
So, yeah, if you want to talk more, contact me outside of this meeting or contact Alan in the Marcy office.
sure, I know Alan. Yeah, okay. Will do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So I do have a question just about the PowerPoint. Howard, yeah, I can work with you on getting the PowerPoint downloaded, and we'll send that out on our end to everybody if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll send that over. It's a little bit big of a file, but nothing we can't deal with now.
We'll problem solve.
Yeah, just about
let's see,
16
Gilda,
megs.
yes,
It's
I
easy.
will unmute you so that you can get your question in. Go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for doing this today. I'm Gilda Ward. I serve as a councilwoman on the town of Guilford. This is in Shenango County.
Mhm.
And we are in the process of doing a loan with USDA for our Guilford Water District. We have a $470,000 loan that we're working on for over 38 years. It was due September 1st. We did ask for an extension, and we were told we could only have one until June of next year, 22. We were approved for the loan, but there had been delays because of COVID and because of problems with acquiring the right-of-way for the lease. And so now we're told we can't extend, and we're concerned that we may not be able to get this ready by June of next year because of these delays. We were told we couldn't have another extension. Is there some way that we can get another extension?
So you've received a rural development loan. It's in construction, but it's not completed yet.
Well, we're in the process of acquiring a lease. We have drilled a well. We need to drill. We're planning to drill another one. In fact, we may be doing that this week. This is, necessary for this water district so that they can have a good source of water. We were told that we have to, in order to have this loan, we have to have this completed, this stuff done. And so, we're told now with this extension, we have to have it ready to go by June of next year. And the way things are going, we're not sure that's going to happen. Are we going to lose? Yeah, are we going to lose? And are we going to have to, and then we're going to have to reapply again? Is there a way we can get another extension? Yeah, I know we don't want that.
We can work with you and see as we get. It sounds like you got the extension till June of 2020.
22 of next year. Yeah, next year it'll be 22. June of 22. We have the extension, but we're concerned that that is not going to give us enough time between COVID delays and between the issues that we've had with acquiring the right of way. We need another extension, and they told us we can't have it. Is there some way we can get that extension? That second extension.
Right now, our national office is only doing extensions of 1 year at a time. So your reasons for extensions without exploring more, but what you're telling me sounds justified. So
right.
Hopefully we can work with you to get another extension before this one expires.
Okay. So when should we just keep working at it until that's approved, or until that
Yeah,
extension is
April,
approved?
May is a good time to think about it. And then you might know more about a completion date too.
Yeah, well, we're hoping even before that, but we're hoping maybe even within the next few weeks that we may have some more information on that. But we were just concerned, we don't want to lose this and have to reapply. That's what
Right.
we're concerned about. So who do we contact? How do we word this? What do we ask for to get this extension?
I'm thinking Shenango County is either the Marcy office or the Cortland office. So
Okay.
that-
Is there any way I
that-
can get that information?
if you can bear with me for a second, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Howard, while you look that up, if everyone could do me a favor, because I do see on the Zoom link a couple different titles or names that I don't recognize, just so that we can make a count of who is here for our RSVP list. Would you mind putting in the chat just your names and titles? I see a few names in here that I can kind of see, but it would just be nice if everybody could just give me a list for that. That way I can see who's here. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And Shenango County is under the Marcy office. So
Marcy,
that's-
okay.
Yeah, Alan Gregory. I can give you a phone number.
Alan Gregory, and yeah, go ahead.
315
Huh?
736
736
3316.
3316. And what is his title?
Extension 4.
Oh, extension 4. Okay.
Yeah.
What is his title?
His title is area specialist or lead area specialist, or he's the person in the Marcy office that works with us.
Okay. And then just tell him our situation and ask if we can get another extension. You said it's by
Right.
year, so
They can
Yeah.
only do a year at a time,
okay.
or they will only do a year at a
They will
time.
only do- Okay. I really appreciate that. Also, before you mute me, is there some way I can get a copy of this? Because I've been trying to copy down all this, but it went kind of fast, and I would like this information is really good. Is there any way I can get a copy of this?
Yeah, we're going to send this our PowerPoint to Michael, and
Yes, we'll be sending it out. That's the other reason why I wanted that list of people. That way I could send it out to everybody.
Do you have me already, or do you need my information?
Did you RSVP through our office, Gilda?
Yes, I did it through, as it was said.
Then yes, we should have all of your information.
Okay, thank you so much.
Michael, can you unmute Brenda Smith?
Yes, that was going to be my next one. I have Brenda Smith who wanted to ask a question. Let me just get to her. All right, Brenda, I just asked if you could unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Brenda Smith. I'm the program director. I don't actually have a question, but I did want to follow up. Howard, sorry, I was IM-ing you, but
Yeah, no problem.
I was IM-ing Rebecca, and it wasn't you. So just what on the Guilford account that has been transferred back to the Cortland office. It is no longer in the Marcy office. Everything in Shenango County was temporarily being used, what's being handled by Alan for us, because we didn't have a specialist here in Cortland, but we have hired, and there is a specialist in Cortland now. So all of the Shenango County files are being in the process of being transferred back to the Cortland office. Oh, I was trying to tell you that, Howard, but I couldn't. I couldn't get it to you quickly enough.
I have that number for you if you want it.
Yes, I do.
607 753 0851. That's also extension 4. And the person there is Kim Wildman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, are there any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat as of this point. You can also use the raise your hand function as well, or just put in the chat to be unmuted. I'll give it just a minute or two if anybody has a question.
Michael, can you send us an attendance list from this?
Yes, sir. That's what that's what I wanted to work on with
Okay.
that. Just use this with the RSVPs that we have. Okay, I do not see anybody else asking for. Let's see. Nope, I don't see any other questions for that. So I do think that we can wrap this up. Howard, was there anything else that you wanted to add at all?
No, just please feel free to contact me. My contact information will be in that PowerPoint. And if you just want to discuss something or see where a project might be at or what you have to do to get a project to the point that you can apply, feel free to contact me and we can talk about it.
Right.
See what the next
And we
steps
will
are.
make that PowerPoint available ASAP. All right. Well, on behalf of the Congresswoman, I just wanted to thank everybody for participating. Howard, much appreciated on this. I found
Thank
this
you.
incredibly
Much
informative.
appreciated on our side too.
Yeah, anything that we can do for the outreach aspect of it, it's always appreciated. So always
Great.
needing help when it comes to that. So thank you. All right. I think that concludes this meeting.
Okay,
All right,
thanks.
thank you,
Have a good day,
everybody.
everybody.
Thanks.